Well, 180 years ago, under the ground on which we stand, I'll let that sink in for a minute, 39 lead miners lost their lives. Not from an explosion, nor from the failure of the pumps, nor from falling walls, nor even from falling themselves. No, they died because in spite of the valiant efforts of several hundred men here on the surface to bund the shafts, put sandbags, I would guess, around to avert the water, the rainwater did flood down the shaft and cause chaos in their only way of escape. And it was Cornwall's worst mining disaster.
We're bards of the Gorsedd, and Gorsedd Carno is a community of people who are brought into the Gorsedd and honoured for the work that they have done for Cornwall in any aspect of culture, community, all walks of life. The watchword is service to Cornwall. Thiw posig ddim brisfi ni the pryderu putra hag leferol bos cernyw heddiw selys war cerno and also kins hag war an ober po sawen po trist hag all an ober as a o gris in dyddiau. It's very important that we remember that the Cornwall of today is founded on the Cornwall of bygone ages and on their work, whether their successes and disasters and what made up life.
But the tragedy did not end underground. It continued in the homes of this and surrounding parishes. I believe there were 22 widows and more than 60 children were left without breadwinners. Their grief was matched by the sudden fear of how they would survive. In those families we see the quiet courage that followed the disaster. Neighbours stepping in, communities rallying, and women carrying households forward with remarkable strength. Cornish women, in my experience, always have remarkable strength.
A moment of rescue, and this arm reaching down to one of the miners that's struggling in the water is in two ways, in my understanding of how the concept arrived. And the first way is for those men that lost their lives, and this is the arm of God reaching down and bringing them to rest with him. And we know from the accounts at that time that the men were very prayerful and that they had a deep faith, and they lived a very Christian life, and they would have had little shrines in the mine that were to God. And in one aspect I felt that there was probably a mine area down here somewhere under that water, which is a bit harrowing to see, a little shrine to St. Piran, who's the patron saint for miners. And here I put a reference to St. Piran, and the surrounding him is a gold leaf which shines eternally in that dark space. So when all the candles were blown out by this thrashing water that was coming down, the miners would have been praying for their lives and for their safety and for their fellows that were there, and there were fathers and sons there and brothers there. So primarily this is the arm of God reaching down for those men that were lost, but also secondary and no less valuable and important, I think, why I carved a sleeve on that arm was to reference the miners that were above ground, that were able to assist and help, physically help pull their brothers out of that terrible time.
Ben is from Lapa Valley Railway. He's going to introduce himself, and without Ben and the Lapa Valley Railway team, none of this would be possible. They've helped to facilitate this. They've laid on the train free of charge for us. This event has been done, freely from Lapa Valley Railway. We work very, very well with each other. I come over every 12 months, we speak, we meet and we chat, and there's been nothing but the most amazing support. So I want to thank you on behalf of all these people, but also of all those people that lost their lives in the community. So I'll let you say a few words, Ben.
Thank you. Cheers, Barry. Thank you. It's perhaps easy for us all to think we're gathered here this evening to remember the 39 men and boys that lost their lives. And perhaps forgivable that as time passes, their memory fades, and perhaps people don't appreciate the gravitas of the situation that took place here 180 years ago. Now, over 80,000 people walk up this very tarmac path every single year. And every single day that Lapa Valley is open, we give all of our visitors the chance to take a moment to learn, to understand.
Well, thank you. I'm Rob Newlyn. I'm the chairman of Cornwall Council. And on behalf of Cornwall Council, I just want to say a massive thank you to Barry and the organisers to put on what's a moving and important event. I think the tragedy of that day when the men and boys, our men and boys, died, is being kept alive through this event, and we remember their loss. And Barry spoke of the day as they came to work, and then you think of the terrible next day as the widows, the wives, the mothers stood here waiting, hoping and despairing. And it's fantastic that our young people are here to learn this story and carry it on so it's remembered. And at Cornwall Council, we are immensely proud of our communities. Cornwall is a series of communities, and we're glad of it, and we thank you, Barry and the team, for bringing this event along. It's fabulous. Thank you.
Well, one of the most amazing things about this is I've had the privilege to have people writing to me from all over the world. America, Australia, England. We've had people from up country travel here today. People from Australia came this week, and we have direct descendants here today of the Lanyons and of Samuel Bastian. Samuel Bastian was the timber man, the man who they say laid down his body to try and divert the water. We have two Lanyons on two of the slates over there. So we have family here. Are they at the front there somewhere? Yeah. There we are. Listen, I don't know if you want to say hello, a little about your journey and yourself after, but it'd be lovely if you want to say a few words. But if you don't want to, that's fine as well.
Yeah, I'd like to speak.
Oh, of course, we have another. Yeah, we have Ellery's as well.
Yeah. I didn't know anything about this until about 6 months ago, when my brother mentioned that there had been a commemoration 5 years ago, and that there was going to be an event today. My relation is Silas Ellery, who was only 17 when he was killed. And then after the tragedy, his parents moved to Australia, and we've been fortunate enough to have some Australian relations over this week that, again, I'd never even heard of. I've met the lovely Lanyon family on the train, and the strangest thing is I work on the farm next door overlooking Lapa Valley, and I'm thrilled when I hear the toot toot of the train every day when I'm at work. So it's all been quite a sudden commemoration for me.
Thank you.
Is we come from Wigan in Greater Manchester, and whilst looking into my ancestry, I was looking into my mum's name, which is Lillian Lanyon, and Lillian Lanyon's great granddad was Jocelyn Lanyon, and he came to this mine with his two brothers, one Reuben and one Josiah, and one was a Methodist preacher. And when it started to fill with water, he was praying and singing for his friends. Josiah didn't die. Jocelyn, my great-great-granddad, didn't die. He went into another mining home in Wigan, and that's where we're descendants from. I'd like to thank Barry for this.
Well,
I'm Brian Curnow, the guy that stopped all the water from going down the mine, or most of it. I wouldn't like to say most of it, but I feel awful really in a way that although he helped a lot of people out of the mine, 12 at least we know, if not more, by laying his body across the shaft to stop the water from entering, to helping others out. Samuel was my third times great grandfather, who descends from my granny Curnow, who was a Kernick, and it goes down through the Bastion line.
It's called the 39 Flowers of East Wheal Rose. Samuel May, on his gravestone, there is a little verse, and it goes like this. To die in Jesus, how sweet. You need not shed a tear. Why should you want me back again? You have no cause for fear. Died in Jesus? Who, me? Shed no tear, but forget me not, never again to be there, to till the soil or pluck an ear. I am gone upon the torrent, rushed through Gower's shaft. Died in Jesus? Why, of course. And, my dear, don't be daft, with no fear. Heavens burst, held all the force of a grieving tear from an eye set upon horizons of fortune, as much as upon the shake of a leaf when the sparrows leap into the air with the force of flight, removed me from sight more quickly than light fallen from an eastern pane above the altar there. And I am set upon the stair, the ladder climbed to eternal grass. And the rose, she stands with hands clasped over her breast to bear the grief, the orphans on parish care, and ballads sung in small relief. Fear not, my dear, I'll not be back. You'll never hear my tread along the path, the creaking of the gate, the harsh breath of lingered wink, the cough and flicker, the dry blood of communion liquor, and all done, heart and lung, lost in unexpected water, and gone beyond the leash of faith. All done, and a silent wink, a revival without my hymn, and life itself but a maiden's blink before the early morning glim, the risen sun over nightly dread, and mother's life, a proffered breast, to bring to the brink, to Captain's test. Oh, clamber down, my son, or grapple a plough to catch and turn a furrowed breath, to pay respects to freedom's oar, hard won by my redeeming death.
Chimblus of Bricus gans nebus calus terras sanguins usis, gris gans tus crescendi in pub sort of vein, peeb here growen cans vliven div log. Sten agan sempiran, o roth agan vro kerno, stenorion of the well goth agan tazo, gans bunanzo ti spell, and chi miro sevis. Gans if there's a soffel, lemon, mager gezis, kirches stenerons, in skurs and bowel perloos, kirkinyeth arbenic, gris gans keir, hagools. O whala vi, fos te marhir au can lure, a ravi mos a g, a berthing cresen fur. Thy galonon you ire, gwag afel eglos cough, thy golon horn ladrus, mes hwath, crave you thereof. Fenestri hap gweder, gwarek afel chapel, fendla wona sigeth, ha lies hen hwethel. Heves you and balio, na moi the berry. Have you de fester, you, my hwa flehes gwari. O Peneglos and Stenek osta in Misgathin, Penfenton agan Graith, Muraz, Rago Maithrin.